Everybody, welcome back. It's Jane. I am doing another video to give you some basic tips to help you get your money organized. And for this video, I would like to focus on some fundamentals of QuickBooks Online. Now, the reason why I have chosen QuickBooks Online as my primary bookkeeping and accounting tool that I use with clients is because of all the online offerings for accounting. This is one that is most familiar to various accountants. To be honest, they generally prefer QuickBooks Desktop, and some of them are not even familiar with QuickBooks Online, but it's as close as we can get, and it's something that we can use as small business owners that we can then hand off to our accountants, and they can finalize all the work for us. We're not going to do everything that the accountant does, but what our goal is to try to not only get our expenses organized, but also consider adding in invoicing so that you can eventually put together reports and give yourself some big picture overviews of your business. Of course, businesses also will use QuickBooks to organize GST, and there's other various pieces, but I'm not going to go into those nitty-gritty details today. What I want to focus on today are the two biggest mistakes that people make when they start using QuickBooks Online and how you can avoid that mistake or fix that mistake going forward. Okay, I would say the first biggest mistake that people make is that they don't look at their chart of accounts. They just start using what QuickBooks has set up for them. And this does not match what the Canada Revenue Agency is looking for, either for corporations or for sole proprietorships. So what I like to do with clients is I like to set up their chart of accounts so that it matches the type of business that they have, so that they've got the same categories that the CRA is looking for. And then for some of my clients, we might fine tune it even more if they're trying to get a better picture of certain elements and certain expenses that they have. The second most common mistake is that people jump in and they start using all the automation tools and they do not understand the limitations of those automation tools. They do not understand the errors that can take place. If you are a proper bookkeeper, there are ways that you are going to speed up the process, but you never really automate the process. That's the honest truth. So it's going to pre-populate a bunch of things and expenses for you, but you're not going to automatically just throw all the expenses into different categories. We always open up each expense and we look at it. We make sure the information is correct. We make sure it's tagged correctly and it's going into the right category. So that's something that I'm going to teach you how to do. So we'll figure out how to use QuickBooks quickly, but not using automation that can make a huge mess of things. So those are my two biggest tips for how to use QuickBooks Online. Other than that, we got to dive into it together, figure out how you bring in bank transactions, figure out how you organize it. Do you want to use invoicing? Automate the invoicing to a certain degree so that it's got your logo on it, all those fabulous pieces, so that you're not recreating the invoicing structure over and over again. So this is how you and I are going to look at QuickBooks Online together. And I will teach you how to do the expenses and the invoicing properly so that you're not making common mistakes. And together, we can set up a really functional system where you're doing your own expenses by yourself. Now, the only other thing I want to say to you is that yes, QuickBooks Online is a monthly fee and it starts off relatively cheap and then it kind of jumps, I believe, to about $25 a month. So for those of you that do side gigs and you're not wanting to have those expenses, you can use my expense tracker tool to track your business expenses if there are not tons of them. So you don't have to use this system if you are a sole proprietor side gig person. I would recommend QuickBooks Online if you are using QuickBooks for your primary business, or you got quite a bit of expenses in your side gig and you really need that extra support, because at $25 a month, you want to make sure it's paying off. If you have a simple side gig, this is not necessary, and we can set you up in a system that you're not paying monthly for. It also requires some categorization, but I am going to even say that my product is faster. So if your needs are simple, then you don't need QuickBooks Online. Okay, that's my overview of QuickBooks Online. I hope it's helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next video.